this idea of like, how do you impart resilience to somebody without the trauma or the drama of it? Everybody gets knocked down by life. At 35, you're considered a geriatric pregnancy.
Like I feel so much anger inside of my body.
Lots of cute moments that get you through the not so cute moments. Judy Blume was like an early icon. I know, and why don't I have an evil twin? Like, cut yourself a break in your 20s. Certain points probably surrender to the chaos, chase the dream, but have a backup plan.
Today's guest is someone who brings both depth and brilliance to everything she touches. Vandana Khanna, an acclaimed poet. Vandana is the author of 3 collections, Train to Agra, Afternoon Masala, and most recently, Burning Like Her Own Planet, which was published by Alice James Books. Work that explores identity, migration, mythology, and the quiet complexities of being human. Beyond the page, she's also an educator, teacher, and shaping writers across the country while continuing to push boundaries in her own work. Vandana, I'm so happy you're here.
I'm thrilled to be here.
I think that was the most nerve-wracking intro I ever had to read. I was like, don't get any of these things wrong. Vandana, I always like to start with, first of all, thank you for coming.
I'm thrilled to be here.
I'm thrilled to have you. Where are you born in the world?
I was born in New Delhi, India. I immigrated to the U.S. when I was about 2.5. First landed in Virginia, spent most of my childhood in Virginia, went to the University of Virginia. Woohoo! I went progressively west. So then I went to graduate school at Indiana University, and then I moved to L.A. almost 30 years ago, like 27 years ago, something like that.
Does LA feel like home?
It does now. When I first moved to LA, you're a local, right? Okay. Yep. So when I first moved to LA, couldn't adjust. It took me like 5 years.
Really?
Yeah.
What were you struggling to adjust to?
I was a poet, went to graduate school in Indiana, cornfields and books and classrooms. And literally 2 days after I graduated, I drove cross country or a third of the way to LA. And I got plopped down in LA because of my now husband, then mate. And it was just like culture shock. Like anybody who's moved to LA, I think it takes a while to adjust.
So it's its own kind of little environment, its own ecosystem, I would say, of people and personalities.
I love it here, but it did take some getting used to. Everything in my early 20s was like turned upside down almost. Yeah. So moving here was just like one of those components that really like obviously changed the trajectory of my life. But
I'm going to take it back.
Okay,
you said that you were from New Delhi, India.
Yes.
Why did you and your family decide to leave?
I think they were looking for different opportunity. They kind of felt not stuck necessarily, but they wanted to try something new and different out. My parents just like packed up and moved. My dad got here first, and then my mom and my brother and I followed like 7 months later. Yeah.
Okay, so you have a sibling. You have one brother?
I do. Our first home was like a 1-bedroom apartment where my brother and I slept in the living room.
Do you have a similar situation in India as well?
No. So my parents left, like family and a house and a country and a language and a culture. They had all of that, and they still wanted to try something different. That's the way it is for a lot of immigrants. We kind of start, work hard, and kind of raise our families and, get to the middle class. That was our dream. And we achieved it. But, that was a big dream of my parents,
It must have been scary, though, to make that. You were so young,
Absolutely.
But for your parents.
We got sent off to India for the summers so my parents could work and not worry about childcare and all of that. Yeah.
What did they do in India, and what did they do when they got to Virginia?
In India, my dad worked in like the hotel business as a manager and stuff. And
hospitality.
Yes.
Okay.
My mom, she went to college just to go to college, and then she got married. She got married early. She was 22. It's a different decade.
Yes.
Life in India was to be a mom and a wife. Yeah. And then she came to America and was like, oh, I've got to get a job. I've got to work.
Was she excited about that?
I think so. Now she's, decades and decades later, she's a very independent woman and has always instilled in us this idea of working hard, saving, and kind of being like resilient, And so that's something that I often think about with our generation of young people. My kids are all like young adults. this idea of like, how do you impart resilience to somebody without like kind of the trauma or the drama of it, you know?
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. So like, how do you make them strong without like kind of, you know, really kind of exacerbating their anxiety and all of that, you know?
Have you been able to find how to do that?
I don't think so. I mean, I talk to a lot of parents, and I think a lot of just people who have kids in their lives, even. We're all just like, the way the world is right now, like, how do we teach them to be kind of tough when you get knocked down by life? I mean, everybody gets knocked down by life.
Everybody.
We all know that.
Yeah.
But so then how do you kind of pick yourself up? How do you teach that to people who are 18, 19, 20? Especially now, I don't know. I don't have any answers. I have lots of questions, though.
Well, that's good. We can discuss some of them here.
Yeah.
But your mother had that. And it sounds like your father did too.
Yeah. I mean, they just kind of were like, let's work hard. Let's try to offer some stability to our family. I mean, they worked really hard. I think that's really important. I think that people these days, we have a lot of discussion about immigration. But I mean, I think when you kind of boil it down to its essence, it's like everybody wants like stability, whatever that means, you know?
And that safety to raise a family.
Yeah.
And just to have the, like you said, it's everyone's, for the most part, just give us the middle. Like,
Yeah.
most people, it's like just some, like, just a little bit of ease.
Yeah.
You know?
Just good schools. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
a reliable, you know, car, good schools, a nice home. I mean, that's the American dream, you know?
Yeah, so
and
true.
that's what we all kind of just want. Those are the basic building blocks of most people's dreams, you know?
Yeah. Which is really a beautiful thing. And it's beautiful that your parents took that very scary step, because I'm assuming they left family.
They left, I mean, they were the only ones who lived in America, and they still kind of are pretty much, you know?
So do you visit family sometimes back?
Okay, so I haven't been back since I was like in my early 20s.
Van, you still look like you're super young.
I know. Let me tell you.
That doesn't sound like it was that long ago.
It was, yes, it was a very long time ago. But what was great, the last time I went, I took my childhood friend with me from America. We had a great time. It was like so interesting to see a place that I had visited as a kid through the eyes of somebody that I had also grown up with in America.
Yeah.
And so just like that experience, which is what like inspired my first book. Yeah.
Traveling there with your best friend.
Yeah,
what
because
inspired that.
the first book is all about immigration and living through two different cultures and all of that. But there are a couple poems in there about that experience of her and I in this vast country, and how like I was watching her reactions to things, and it was really interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're very observant, obviously.
Yeah, as a writer or as a creator in all different mediums, I think a lot of it has to do with observation, right? Obviously, if you're a visual artist, it's all about that.
Yeah.
But as a writer, yeah, like I am always absorbing. And I think that kind of translates to a lot of mediums in art, you know, even in acting, I imagine. You're observing. And obviously you have to play up against somebody else. So it's always kind of this like back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel like there's a back and forth like that with poetry?
Definitely. Because if you walk into the world and you're absorbing, and then you have the quiet time to write, then you see the words on the page and what they reflect back to you. It's really interesting what you transcribe almost from those experiences. You know, I think people think that poetry is supposed to be like telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but. And it's true, but it's kind of like fiction in the sense that we can manipulate the truth a little bit to the bigger human truth of what it means to be a person in the world. Does that make sense?
It does, but I have so many more questions.
Okay.
Because for me, like poetry is one of those things that it's been hard for me to fully understand.
I know.
it. I can read something and go, oh, that's beautiful. But I listen to people break down poetry and understand like the nuances behind it or know exactly what it means. Like I'm always admired by people that can read a poem or look at a piece of art at a gallery and be like, know everything about it. And I'm like, I didn't know any of that, but I like it.
I think that's the most important thing, though. I mean, I feel like, especially the way we teach poetry in America in particular, I haven't taught it elsewhere. It's very gatekeeping. And I think that people get very intimidated. And so when we can like go into a poem and just say, well, like, what emotions is it evoking? Because ultimately, we're using words to transmit an emotion to you. You know, are you getting that emotion? It's like I'm using words so that you might not know from beginning to end what everything absolutely means. Yeah. But at the end, what's like the feeling you leave the page with? That's what we're trying to translate. And it's very hard to do because sometimes you just have like all these emotions. And then you're like, well, now I have to translate it into like words and lines. And those are supposed to kind of transmit that emotion inside. Yeah. That's the hardest part. If it were easy, I'd love it, but it's not.
But you do love it.
I do love it, but it's not always easy,
No.
you know, because you're just like, oh, that's not the right word. And then you just kind of like walk around or you do the dishes or you do a load of laundry and you're always thinking like, what's the right word? And in your head, you pick it up. You kind of turn it around and you're like, no, that's not the right word. And you pick another word and yeah.
I love the way you explained it though, that it can't, I agree that to me, poetry, the best way to put it is intimidating.
Yeah.
So it is nice to hear that really what it's about is, does it create an emotion?
Yeah.
I think that's a beautiful way to put it and also takes a lot of the intimidation away.
100%.
Of like, I can read it and go, do I feel something?
Yeah.
And if I feel something, I like it.
Yes.
I don't necessarily need to dissect it.
No. And I think young people, if we start teaching like living writers, which is a big thing.
What is that? What's living writers?
Just like writers that are still alive, that are still, you know.
Yes.
It's like if we taught poetry,
That's like
you're like, what is
that?
People are still alive writing. But like if we taught like living writers alongside, say, you know, like the Shakespeare's and the Elizabeth Bishops and the Emily Dickinsons of the world, I think they can be in great conversation with each other. And if we taught poetry in that way, which I think a lot of people from my generation are, because we recognize ultimately if somebody takes a class from me, like I don't expect them to be a literature major later. I just expect them to go out into the world and be like, oh yeah, I recognize that very famous poem. And then I can pick up a literary magazine and read a poem that just got published this week and still kind of engage with it.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. It's like conversation.
I feel like even my limited knowledge of writers and is people that have passed. So I get what you're saying, and that's very interesting from your perspective. How you're like, if we can learn about them together,
but also because the language has evolved, right? And so it's like that's where I think people get intimidated because they're like opening something, expecting the language to already be kind of like a barrier. And if you read more contemporary writers, you'll open up a book and realize they're using language like I would use language in a conversation oftentimes, you know? But they might just like highlight something or make it a slightly more musical or something like that, you know? So I think that breaking down those kind of barriers to all kinds of art. I mean, I feel like I don't know opera or ballet per se that well, but there's got to.
You like the opera and the
I
ballet.
do.
Let's clarify because I think that's
like
important
both.
to clarify.
I like all different kinds of art, truthfully. But similarly, like if I go into, I can be intimidated by a piece of visual art in a museum, right?
Yeah.
Like you walk through, you know, LACMA or any museum and you're just like, oh, wow. And I love to hear somebody like explain art to me. But in the end, I think the same thing is true. It's like, you're going to walk around an art museum and you're going to gravitate to what you gravitate towards, right?
Yep.
So something is happening there that isn't being mediated by an expert. There's something like instinctual that makes you stand in front of one painting or sculpture rather than another.
It's so true.
And so I think that's ultimately what like I like to hold on to
Yeah.
is this idea of like, I love to hear somebody dissect a piece of art because I think it's amazing that somebody has that like thought process. And I'm always curious about that. But like, if I don't have somebody there, I'm still going to wander and something's going to call out to me.
Yeah.
And what is it? And that's the instinct, you know, that I think art can do for people, you know?
And the art that speaks to you at different times throughout your life.
Absolutely. Yeah. There are books that I couldn't digest in my 20s. Like and they were like the books you're supposed to read. And I just couldn't. And now I can. I'm in a different place. I have friends who reread the same book like every year, every other year for like 10 years.
Why?
And every time you as a reader bring your own life experience to a book. Even though the story hasn't changed, but the way you react to it changes. Yeah. What you appreciate now as opposed to 10 years ago because of your own life experience. That's you know, true. Maybe the main character was somebody you like couldn't relate to. And now 10 years later, you're like, that's my person.
It's so true. I love this breakdown of art, and I needed this in my life because it does intimidate me. But I do want to go back to where this all started, which is, when did you know you wanted to be a poet?
Well, I tried to write my first novel, so just writing in general, when I was 8.
When you were 8?
Yes, and it was very suspiciously similar to a Beverly Cleary novel that I was reading.
Which was?
Gosh, I don't even remember now, but it had the same characters and the same setting, but I just made different things happen to them.
Okay.
And I think that for a lot of people who first come to writing, doesn't matter what age you come to it, we learn a lot through imitation. And I think that's okay. Like, I have students who, you know, I've taught that got into writing, you know, in their 50s and 60s and 70s because they had a whole life before and they didn't have time, and now they do. And I always encourage them to like read people that you really like and see what they're doing. And so basically, instinctually, that's what I was doing at 8. My mother had this old electric typewriter that hummed, like loved the sound and the physicality of my fingers on the keyboard. And every time I struck a key, it like made that impression on the page, right? This is pre-computers, people. And so I just like loved the satisfaction of that.
Yeah.
So from childhood, basically.
Wow. And did you love reading? Because 8's young. So did you love reading books right away?
100%.
Were you a quick learner? Were you like speaking at one? Like
no, I wasn't. Okay. I wasn't a baby genius. No. I probably learned when everybody average. I was pretty average. I learned when most people learned how to read.
No.
But no.
First of all, no one's average. We're all unique and special.
Well, that's true. But no, I wasn't like a particularly early reader. But I think that reading was the one place in my life that did offer like a different world. And I would spend hours locked up in my room reading.
Do you remember some of those books you read?
Oh, yeah. One of the first ones is like Pippi Longstocking, if you've not read it as a child.
Yeah.
I loved the adventures that Pippi Longstocking got into. I loved like Ramona the Pest. I loved Judy Blume was like an early like icon who still remains an icon. All those books. Like I just kind of devoured books. Wow. And that's how I learned how to write. And oftentimes it's like when I have people who want to write, but they don't read, that's like a big flag. Like let's call a flag on the play. And I'm using sports terminology, which I never do. But you know,
someone's rubbing off in your life.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. But I think the first instinct to write often is connected to reading. And reading is one of those acceptable passions that you can have that will get you out of all sorts of chores and all sorts of other things that you didn't want to do as a child. It's
I've never heard of it that way.
Oh, it's amazing because you're just like, can I just read and I'll do that later? And your parents are like, well, she's reading, so like you can't say no to that. It was great.
You were a baby genius.
I was. And
You were.
in certain ways, possibly.
So question though, when you came from India to the US, did you speak English yet?
My first language at home was Hindi, obviously. But yeah, coming in at 2, I don't remember not knowing English, if that makes sense, because I was so young.
Which makes sense.
And so my parents kind of like code switched at home. So
Which is great though.
yeah. So I grew up kind of speaking both, understanding both, but I can't read.
That's what I was going to ask. That's what
I'm illiterate. Yeah, I'm illiterate in Hindi.
Really?
Yeah, because my older brother like actually started like kindergarten in India, so he did learn some of the like rudimentary letters and sounds, but I never did. So I grew up in America, going to school in America, so never learned those. And it's so funny because we can put on like a Bollywood film and I can understand everything and kind of translate it to people, but I can't read anything in Hindi. Yeah.
That's interesting, but it makes sense because you came over at such a young age. It does make sense, but that's also because I was trying to visualize you reading these books, and so we were reading English language books.
Yeah, yeah.
And so you I love that you were avoiding chores by doing this.
That's the way to do it.
But you just read and read and read, and at 8 you rewrote and interpreted.
I reinterpreted.
There you go.
A
book.
Pretty famous, I think, book at that point. But yeah.
At that moment, you knew, I want to be a writer.
Yeah. I just kind of always have been writing since then. You know, like teenage years, like angsty poems and journals, like in your journal.
I would love to. You still have your angsty poems and journals?
I think so. But like, it's funny because these are evolutionary moments for most writers or artists in any sense.
So you wrote at 8.
I wrote at 8.
Continued to write stories, angsty poems.
A lot of it. I mean, I think if you're a teenager and didn't write angsty poems, I don't know what's kind of going on there. I'm sure.
I think I probably did.
I think almost everybody I know did.
I mean, I had to. I remember, oh no, this is a random tangent. There was like a book called Ask Alice that came out.
Oh, I read that.
And it was so dark. And I remember,
oh my gosh,
when I was of that age and reading that, and 13 also came out at the same time, I was like, yeah, this gets me. And like, I'm not sure if it did.
Yeah.
Like looking back on it.
But
I felt so angst ridden.
Yeah.
That it felt like, but you remember reading that.
Oh, I remember reading that. And also the funny thing is when I read as a young adult child, there was no like YA, like there was no designation. So like, and nobody was really paying attention to what we were reading.
Oh, nice.
Like nothing was kind of off limits in a sense. Oh, I could read The Great Gatsby and I could read something like Forever by Judy Blume. You know, like I could do all of those sort of things without it being designated like this is for you. And then when you turn 20, this section of the bookstore or the library is for you, you know?
So reading, do you feel like really impacted your growth? Like
100%.
Wow.
100%. It taught me so much about being in the world, which seems strange because if you're like reading, people assume you're not in the world. But it taught me so much about so many things, you know?
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
And also just a great way to also, maybe I'm just because I learned more from watching television and films.
Oh, I did too. I sat in front of that TV for like hours.
Okay, so you and I can relate to that.
Again, and nobody was kind of checking up on like, is this TV MA or like I would come home, my parents were working, I'd come home from school and we'd turn on like All My Children and As the World Turns and General Hospital. Like I watched all of those.
Yep. Did your mom watch them as well?
No, because she was working. So like after school, we were latchkey kids. Again, like we had a key. We walked home from school. We had a key. We made our own like snack and we turned on afternoon television, and at that point it was dominated by soap operas. So I grew up in the whole like soap opera world,
which is great because
it was
soap operas
so great.
Are so much fun.
They were
especially
wonderful.
When you're younger.
Yeah, they were just like outrageous and amazing. You know,
oh my God, so and so is so and so's brother, but also so and so's ex-husband.
I know, and why don't I have an evil twin? Like, you know, like it was great.
Do we all want an evil twin? Secretly?
I think we do.
Might be something behind that.
Yeah.
So you continued to write. It continued to mold you into who you were, and did you know I want to go to college for writing?
Yeah, so like I went to University of Virginia, and I just had like a great overall education, but I really, every semester you got like one elective, and every semester I took like a poetry writing class. And I was really lucky because I had my professors, they had won the Pulitzer, and they were like the poet laureate of the United States and like all these great awards, and they were teaching undergrads, and I just kind of soaked it all in, you know? I was really lucky. And I feel like young people today are very lucky too. Wherever, this is what I always say to parents, it's like wherever your kid goes to school, they're going to get a good education because like we have such a great, rich pool of academics in the world. And so for me, it was like so formative. I took like a workshop every semester, which can be very like...
What kind of workshop?
Like you write a poem every week, and then every week everybody sits around and you go through everybody's poems, and they'll tell you what they liked and what they didn't like, and you like take notes, and it's a very traditional. It was, but I got so used to it that that's how I kind of learned what I was communicating to people and what I wasn't. So like people would be like, "Oh, this is the way I read this," and you'd be like, "Oh, I don't want you to read it that way." Yeah. So then you have to kind of reverse engineer and be like, "Oh, how do I change something so that they get a different emotion or a different sense of revelation or whatever?"
So it helped you kind of fine tune your craft.
Tremendously. But also now, and at that point, that was kind of the route a lot of people took. And I'm happy to say, like in my undergrad workshop, like I still know a handful of those classmates of mine, and they've published books. And so it's kind of great. From there, I went and got a master's, and it was, again, more intensive.
In Virginia still?
Indiana.
Okay,
Then I moved to Indiana. I went to get my MFA at IU in Bloomington, lovely Bloomington, Indiana. I knew at the end of my undergrad, like, I still want to keep doing this. And so how do I keep doing this? Oh, I can go and get another degree and really focus. Like, then I don't have to take, like, requirements. I just focus on what I want to focus on. Kind of like you know, if you go to a conservatory or something, that was my time. It was like 3 years of attention paid to an art form, which it's so rare to get that opportunity. That was really kind of very formative as well. All that being said, I think the way writing can come to people in all different modes. You don't have to like disappear, go somewhere for 3 years. You don't have to do any of that. They're like great programs online in your local community center. Again, those can sometimes seem like barriers to learning how to write something, or you have a story and you're just like, I don't know where to begin. There are so many ways to grow, get instruction, get mentorship that don't have to be that very traditional route.
Of college,
of a master's programs. There's so many great programs and so many great writers. Who are you reading that you absolutely love? Chances are they're probably teaching like a short course or a month-long online class somewhere that you can actually, you know, learn from people that you've really admired, you know?
So the internet is really a tool these days.
Absolutely. I think it's democratized art in certain ways that have been great, like that, where people who want to learn can fit it in between work and childcare or all the different things that are going on in a person's life, you know?
It's interesting too, though. It sounds like from what I'm hearing is that even if you just have the desire, you love to read and you have a desire to write, you really just need a pen and paper.
100%.
Or a laptop, I guess, if you have it. But really just like a pen or pencil and paper, and just, would you encourage people just start writing?
Just start. Yeah.
So like, don't be intimidated.
Absolutely. Okay. I think that sometimes, this is going to sound kind of backwards, but sometimes the more education you have in a certain arena, the more it kind of puts up these roadblocks. Like, oh, I'm not writing it in that way that instruction booklet told me to write. And so now should I keep going?
I think that can be true. And it's same with acting to an extent.
I'm sure.
It's like you can get so much schooling and learn so much about a certain technique that all of a sudden you go to do something and you're so kind of confined within this, I have to do it this way.
Yeah.
Instead of that freedom of I can do it anyway, but at least I have these tools.
Yes.
So that's interesting. So education can be the same way. It can be a little bit restricting if you don't kind of let it go sometimes.
Right. I think always, brush up on technique and all skills and craft of whatever art form. I think that's very valuable. But it should never be a roadblock to actually starting your own journey in that art form, you know?
Yeah.
I think that oftentimes I get a lot of people who are like, oh, I read all those books, but the way I write doesn't quite fit that. And it's like, well, then you need to say, okay, I learned all of that, and now I'm going to sit down and write.
Yeah, really stick with what it is your strong suits are almost.
Absolutely.
Speaking of, I like to go a little bit back and make sure I'm following the whole trajectory of your life. So you knew you wanted to go to college for writing.
Yes.
Did you know you wanted to you went to University of Virginia?
Yes.
And
Wahoo Was.
Is that what are they called?
They're called the Wahoos. Yeah.
I love
or
that like
Who's.
throughout this podcast, so many people have done shout outs.
Yeah.
Like throughout their entire, it's usually college friends, people.
Of course.
So I love that. So we're shouting out, what is it?
The Who's.
The Who's. We're shout out to the Who's. So did you know you wanted to go to that school specifically? Or was it just like you applied and that's the one you got accepted to?
Yeah, it's very different. Like now I'm going through this college journey with my kids, and it's like touring and this and that. Like I grew up in an era and where you just like applied to your state schools. You got into 50% of them and you didn't get into 50% of them. And then you just made your decision. Like the first time I actually saw the grounds at UVA was when I went in to move into my dorm.
Oh, wow. So these whole like kids going and touring the campus and trying is something that's new.
I mean, I feel it's kind of new. My husband also didn't tour. He just applied and went.
And he also went to University of Virginia?
Yeah. It could be that's that time period. I'm sure some people did travel around and tour and stuff, but that wasn't the case for me. Yeah. I just kind of was like, well, I got in here, so I guess I'll go here.
Did that allow you to, since your parents were in Virginia, did that allow you to live at home and drive to school?
No. The university is about 2.5 hours away from, which was great because it was just far enough that I could go and kind of spread my wings and be whoever I wanted to be and still be close if I wanted to go home for the weekend or whatever.
I'm sure they kind of like that too.
Yes, absolutely.
And speaking of, so we're not going to talk about him because, but when you were at University of Virginia, is that where you met your husband?
Yeah, we met. Wow. We lived in the same dorm our freshman year and met very early on, and then would, in fact, see each other during lunchtime in the TV lounge, because back then we had lounges with TV, and everybody would get their to-go lunch and sit and watch like Days of Our Lives and General Hospital. Still, I'm saying it keeps coming around to this. But yeah, so we would all be in the lounge watching soap operas together.
Which I feel like is quite the irony of that. But that being said, so you guys met there. So you met in your undergrad at University of Virginia.
Yeah.
And that's pretty crazy that you were like, I'm going to go spread my wings in college and I'm also going to find the man of my dreams.
Sometimes it just kind of works out that way. It doesn't have to, but it did.
It's a beautiful story. And I do love that you guys found love. And it's just, you guys are an amazing couple to see. But
thank you.
So you were at University of Virginia. Mm-hmm. You're dating this man.
Yes.
You then decide to go to undergrad. I don't know at what time did you get married?
So we went to undergrad together. In our last year, we both applied to master's programs.
Okay.
I applied to Indiana. He applied to Temple.
Where's Temple?
In Philadelphia.
Okay.
So we were like 13 hours apart and kept up that long distance thing for about 3 years. Yeah. And so the thing was, when we decided to apply to where we applied, it was basically like, we're going to take this time to kind of grow as artists. And we want to stay together, but we also want to focus on who we are as artists, and we'll go where it's best for us to go. And it just turned out it was 13 hours apart from each other. But we managed to see each other like every 4 to 6 weeks. We just kind of made it work for a really long time.
That's a lot, though. So that was 2 or 3 years that you had to do that?
It was a 3-year program for both of us. But in his last year, he did a crazy contest in a mall and of course. It was kind of like American, American Idol, where they go to all these different places. Yes. It was basically a publicity stunt, but it turned out it actually turned into something. So within 1 week of him doing a contest in a mall, he had gotten a job, had to leave grad school early, flew out to LA and started a whole LA life within literally a week.
Did he not finish grad school?
Well, so the show that he was on was considered his independent study. So he did finish. Yeah. Got it. It was very important to him that he got the degree in the end.
That's what I figured. I was wait, I can't imagine.
No, not him. Yes.
But what a beautiful thing that you guys were able to do long distance. And is there any tips for anyone out there that's going through a long distance relationship? Because that can be hard. I mean,
it's so hard.
And especially when you have less money than in college.
So what happened is in grad school, I had 3 different jobs. Oh, wow. So I was actually earning money because I was teaching, and then I ran a residence hall of undergrads. And so I was actually earning some money, and then so I would fly out, or he would fly out, or he would get bumped, and they would give you a free ticket every time you got bumped. And
no, I don't know about this. Yeah. Oh, bumped off a flight.
Yeah. So when you're young, you just kind of make things work.
You find the loopholes.
Oh, 100%.
So you guys would find ways to get discounted or cheap flights, 100%. Work a couple jobs. Was he working as well to help also with that? Going back and forth?
He had a fellowship for grad school, but pretty much not, because I don't know, but in his grad program, it's you're in classes all day and then you rehearse, and then on weekends you have plays, and it was just this nonstop. I mean, it's a conservatory kind of program. It's just nonstop for him.
And then what about, because I always love this part of it, cell phones. What were you?
Okay, so now my kids can just FaceTime when they're apart from somebody. We just had those flip phones.
Yeah. Nokia or something.
Yeah, it was great. And if you actually wanted to type out, you'd have to scroll through each letter of the alphabet, get to T, get to H.
That's love. That's
E,
real love. Right there.
Okay, now. We didn't have any of that. We had cell phones, but no smartphones. Yeah. It was a whole different kind of world.
But that definitely helped. At least the cell phones. At least it wasn't having to go to
the hall phone. Yeah, there was a hall phone as well. But yeah.
So that's just, I always admire that, because long distance is hard, and for anybody, regardless of how much you love each other, it's difficult. It almost probably is harder the more you love each other, because
it is really hard. And I think because of that, it's so weird, but I'm so loath to go away for long periods of time now, still, even now.
Because you did that.
Yeah. It's and also I think it's the way my life is kind of fit together. I don't need to go elsewhere to write, for instance, you know? I always either had a job or had children that I was raising, so I couldn't go away for a month somewhere. It sounds great, to be I'm going to the woods for a whole month and write. And I have friends who do that, and I'm so envious. But then the way I constructed my life in a sense, I kind of just did it between school drop-offs and homework, and there's so many different ways to be an artist in your life. And it sounds glamorous. You could go to Paris, spend all that money, but you can also kind of do it in 15, 20-minute gaps when you have time. Yeah. I have friends who wrote whole books sitting in their car at their kids' soccer practice or whatever.
But that's amazing to hear stories like that, because the truth is you can juggle it all. You can have motherhood or have a job, or have a motherhood and a job, and still be tapping into this passion you have of writing, if it's not something that you're doing as a job.
Right.
Even though it is a job. Motherhood is a job. I just want to clarify.
Yeah,
I think all those things are jobs.
Everything's a job these days.
Everything is a job. But it's great to know that, because I know a couple people now that are mothers trying to, whether it's getting into ceramics or getting into painting and trying to balance it both. And that is finding those little times. So in a perfect world, you're fly to Paris for a month and write something, but you don't need that.
I don't think you need that. Yeah. And I feel that, again, becomes this sort of barrier to a lot of people just starting, because they're well, I don't have 2 hours in my day. Mm-hmm. And so I often say to a lot of people that I work with, just if you could do half an hour and not even every day, just like, can you take half an hour every other day or every third or fourth day? That's all. Like, that's all. Like, I know writers who've written whole novels just by writing half an hour a day, wrote like 400-page novels.
I mean, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And it allows you to kind of break it down, because writing a novel, or even, I mean, for me, writing a poem would seem very, as we said before, intimidating. I would sit there and be like, whoa, we can all do it no matter what. The balance. You
can, but I mean, I don't think, well, I have a feeling like there is really no such thing as balance in some points of people's lives. If you have a lot on your plate, something is going to suffer. I mean, I think it's like, I think it's this great idea that we all try to achieve some kind of balance. But like, to be real, if you have a full-time job and you have young kids, you have a mortgage to pay, you have rent to pay, like, lovely to think you would balance everything. But there were whole, 6 months where I didn't write because I literally was a new mother, and I didn't know how to navigate that identity with the identity that I used to have as a writer or as a person who didn't have children. Yeah. And so I think it's okay, like, also to be like, not everything's going to be in balance all the time.
Yeah.
I think this idea of somehow, like, everything should be juggling and up in the air, like something's going to fall. But it's okay because you can scoop down and pick that up and something else is going to fall. But that's kind of the way I think it goes. I mean, I don't know.
You're both giving me hope and also making me realize that I'm going to always be in a constant state of chaos.
And it's okay, because I think it's okay to have, like, messy times in your life, It's not going to be like the perfect white sofa. You're going to have like handprints and dog hair and all sorts of things.
It's such a great visual. But also what's interesting is I think a lot of people are striving for that idea of balance and perfection because we're presented it so often
my gosh, so much.
Social media, on
so much.
In whatever you want to call it.
I mean, in that way, like, social media has been a great way for people to connect, but it's also been not the most healthy way to kind of go about our lives.
Yeah.
Because I mean, who doesn't want to post a pretty picture on Instagram? Like, it's better than not posting, or a lot of people don't post reality, right? And that's fine, because if you go into it knowing this isn't reality, this is like curated, its own kind of thing, then that's fine. But aside from that, I think this idea that we're fed always striving to be better, it can be really exhausting. And it's okay if you're not always striving to be better.
It can be exhausting.
I think that in and of itself, is its own industry. Mm-hmm. Whether it's like you put on like 50 different serums before you go to bed, and then you do like the right way to eat protein, and then it can be way too much, and it's okay to be like cruising for a little while. I'm not striving for anything.
Did you always have this outlook, though, or did this change throughout your life?
As a young person, I think I was always striving. But like, for me, it was like once I had 3 children, I kind of gave up. Like, once you're outnumbered, you kind of are just like, well, there's just like very little way to be like on it, like one child, and then we had twins. And then when I was pregnant with the twins, I would get these well-meaning women primarily telling me like, oh, a good friend of mine had twins and she had like a natural birth and it was so beautiful. I was like, that's great for her. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go and see my doctor and make my own plan, right?
Yeah.
You have to, at certain points, probably surrender to the chaos, to be like, it's wild over here. Oh, well, because it's not always going to be like that.
Yeah.
3 children all in succession or whatever. It really, you do just kind of surrender to the chaos of it.
You kind of, it sounds like, had to. You didn't have a choice.
I really didn't have a choice. No.
You were like, I must give in. I'm sorry I was laughing so hard. It's just the fact that you're like, when you're outnumbered, you kind of just have to stop fighting.
Yeah, you just do. Yeah. You're just like, okay, well.
Did you also know you always wanted to be a mother?
I think I did, but there was a time when you're like a young adult, when you have these unrealistic expectations of, I want to have have 4 kids. And then you're like, oh, and then you grow up a little bit and you're like, maybe I don't want to have kids and I'm going to move to Paris and just like be this fabulous person, you know? And neither like end is reality necessarily. For me, it was just like, oh, I guess I do want to be a mother. And so after the first child, you're just like, oh, wow. Then you're just like, oh, reality. This isn't like, because I never like babysat or was really around little children. And so that was like a big learning curve for sure.
So you weren't that person that was like, I love babies, give me all the babies.
No, I
I'll
was
babysit.
not a babysitter at 13 or any of that. Like I really wasn't. So it was a big learning curve for sure.
Now I know you have 3 children.
Yeah.
And 2 of them, I was going to say one set, or 2 of them are twins.
Yeah.
Do you have twins in your family?
No, I was lucky. I had spontaneous twins. So we weren't really trying to have twins. We were wanting to have a second child. It just spontaneously happened after a miscarriage, though. So often what I learned with other women in the waiting room is that they had gone through something very similar, which is like they had like a miscarriage. And then all of a sudden, like the next pregnancy was twins. And that's exactly what happened to me. I was like, wow. Like we wanted to have a second child. And also I was a geriatric
Why?
pregnant person at 35.
I was going to say, wait.
Welcome to the American Medical. No, at 35, you're considered a geriatric pregnancy.
Like I feel so much anger inside
I know.
of my body right now.
I know. You're just kind of like, okay. Yeah, I just spontaneously had twins. It was a shocker for sure.
Getting past this. Sorry.
I know.
Geriatric at 35. But also too, so were you excited? A couple questions. Were you excited to know you were having twins or were you kind of scared? And was that your first miscarriage before you found out?
Yeah, that was my first miscarriage. The first pregnancy, got pregnant easy. Everything was fine. I had to have an emergency C-section, but that's not uncommon for a lot of people. Cord was wrapped around the baby's neck. So every time I had a contraction, his heart rate plummeted, which is how they knew.
Oh, wow.
You can have all the birth plans you want. And then in the end, you kind of just have to get the baby out. And then so the second time we were like, okay, we want to have another child. And it just took forever, which was weird because we were like, okay. And I often talk to a lot of people about this. Like I just was at a party and somebody was just saying, oh, it's taking such a long time. I go, I know it can. And then I had a miscarriage, but I only knew I had a miscarriage because we were like monitoring if I was pregnant.
Got it.
A lot. It was very early. So you know, that in and of itself was okay. But then we were shocked when we found out we were having twins, very trepidatious. Like we were like, what does this mean? And how do you do this? And yeah, chaos. That's how you do it.
And 2 at the same time, though, in reality, when it did happen,
Yeah.
was it nice to have 2 at the same age?
It's
there
only
for each other?
Yeah, I mean it was great in the sense that like when they learned how to crawl, they learned within like a couple weeks of each other. So they would like chase each other around.
Yeah.
They were in the same crib for a while and they would like find each other's hands. There are lots of cute moments that get you through the not so cute moments of like literally each one would be crying and then trigger the other one. So you're holding 2 babies that are crying.
In both ears.
Yeah. And you're just like, I don't know how to console either one of you. Because like one would start crying and then the other would look over and be like, oh, is this what we're doing now? And then the other would start crying.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Or when they were toddlers, they would pull you in literally 2 opposite directions. I want to go here. No, I want to go there. But
It's like your eyes are just like,
yeah. I mean, it's oftentimes I get approached by women in their early 20s saying, oh, it must be great because you just get it over with. And it's like, you don't get anything over with.
Yeah.
It's kind of exponential.
Your children are amazing.
Oh, thank you.
So you and your husband have raised them extremely well. They're so smart, and just every time I meet them, I'm so impressed by your children. So I'm just going to put that out there. You've done a good job, regardless of the crying and the pulling, hands in different directions. You guys have done an amazing job with your children. So I want to make sure, where were we at? College to Los Angeles. I like to always know the trajectory. So after Indiana, so did you... Let me take this one. What brought you to LA? Was it the fact that your husband,
Yes.
He wasn't your husband at the time yet?
He wasn't my husband
But
at the time.
he got a job in LA.
He got a job in LA. So ideally, we were going to be these like starving artists in New York. He and I were going to graduate at the same time. We were going to move to New York. And then all of that stopped. Like, he literally got this job in like October of our last year. So his last year and my last year. So in October, he moved to LA. Meanwhile, I was still in Indiana finishing my degree. Yeah. And then when I finished, he came and drove me out to LA. So like literally 2 days after I was in LA. Very, very disconcerting, disorienting. Yeah.
Did you ever want to be in LA?
No, it never occurred to me. Like, you know, we were just going to be in New York or around New York and
the East Coast.
The East Coast, yeah. No, I never pictured my life here.
You weren't like, I'm a surfer. I want beaches and I want.
No.
Just to clarify for those that don't,
that don't know me at all. No. You know, his first job was like in a soap opera. So it was jumping into a world that I was totally unfamiliar with. Those were fun years, but they were also like kind of growing up years, you know? I think your mid to early 20s is definitely lots of growth.
Any advice you want to give looking back? Because I find that this is a big question I get asked a lot is the 20s. And I obviously, same as you, like there's so much growth. There's so much like you don't know and you're stressed about everything. You're trying to control it, but you can't control anything and everything's going wrong that you're trying to plan. At least that was my experience. Like, did you feel that or what did you learn in those 20s? Or is there any advice you'd give for anyone out there?
I don't know what I just made it. I think like looking back, you just got to give yourself a little bit of a break. You know, like I feel like in your 20s, at that period in my life, it was like, you know, like you needed to make a stamp on the world kind of thing. And I feel like as I've continued to write and live and work, it's like you can make a stamp on the world at any point. And I think that, again, our culture really loves baby geniuses, really loves the ingenue.
We're geriatric at 35.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
it's all over.
It feels like you have to do everything before you're 30.
Right. And so that I think, but if you look at, you know, if you look at a trajectory of a whole life or of an artist's life, you know, do you really want to peak at 25? Like, you know, you want to keep going and you want to keep working at whatever you're working at. So I think just also to cut yourself a break in your 20s, you know, it's like you don't have to have everything figured out.
Yeah, it's so true. But I'm sure when you were going through it, you didn't realize that.
Oh, no, not at all. It was just like, we must do this. We must get a job. We must do this, you know, and it doesn't always kind of work out that way.
So you came to LA. Were you guys married yet?
No. So we got married about maybe like 2 years after I moved to LA.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it was pretty shocking to move to LA.
Very shocking.
What were you going to say?
I was going to say, lovely people. Like, we are still really good friends with some of the people that my husband first was on a soap opera with this many years later. Yeah. And it's quite lovely.
I will say all your friends are very smart.
I have the best friends. My husband works with the best people.
They're also very smart. Every time I've ever gone, it's been a while, but gone to the house for a get together of any sort, I'm like, everyone is so smart. Oh. Art people and creatives. So you moved to LA, you made some friends. Did you get a job right away? Because I did. And what were you doing right off the bat?
We moved in May and I had a job by June. So I had taught a little bit in my grad program. And as I had mentioned, helped pay the bills. I was also running a residence hall of undergrads. So my first job here was at Whittier College. Shout out to Whittier. Yeah. And I managed like a residential area of undergrads, had students that I worked with. And so I did that for a couple of years. I was a director of student activities. And then I wanted a change. So then that was when it was like free floating. I worked at like a production company for a year.
Really?
Yeah. I read scripts. I answered the phone. I did all that. Roll calls for, yes.
Did you ever think you wanted to get into the film and TV industry or write scripts?
I was interested in scripts. I was interested in story. It didn't matter to me how it kind of came. But again, I don't know if that was like the great fit, but like I learned a lot. So I worked at a production company. I worked at independent lit agent who had writers that then their work got like put on Broadway and things like that. So that was really like every place I worked, I learned, you know, I learned a lot. I worked for these two guys who managed like big comedians who sold out like stadiums. So that was great learning experience because you looked at contracts, you learned all those sort of things, you know.
Do you remember any specific stories or memories from all those jobs that stand out to you as maybe pivotal moments or just funny moments?
I mean, I worked at George Clooney's production company, and I would come home from work and be like, George showed up today, and Jason would be like, oh, I'd be like, oh my goodness. You know, I was just answering the phone, but he would come in and you'd just be like, superstar. Yeah, I learned a lot. I just was trying to find my way and trying to kind of figure out, well, I'm here, so what is this industry, you know?
It was smart. It was smart. You took kind of your surroundings and go, how can I adapt to what's here in this city?
Yeah, and that was really great. It was a great learning experience. I did it for a couple of years. Like, truthfully, 9/11 happened, and I was like, okay, I think I have to reassess my life.
Really?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
So that had a profound impact on you.
Absolutely.
As it did so many, but it's interesting in your life that and what was the change that you felt needed to happen?
I was like working at a company and I was like, this isn't a good fit for me. I'm going to need to find something else. And so I left the company that I was like an assistant at, and I just tried something different, you know? And I was like, oh, I feel like, you know, this is saying like life is very short. This is like reassess. So I just kind of did. Yeah.
And what was that next job you did after?
I can't even remember. I think I taught for a little bit again. I went back to teaching. And then truthfully, I started having children.
So it puts things in perspective as to like, what do I want my life to look like, essentially?
Yeah, I was working at a job that I didn't love, and I was kind of like, you don't always work at jobs you love. I get that. And I had done it for a little while, and I was like, I think there could be something else out there that I might want to do instead.
When did you publish your first book? So that was the difference.
Yeah, so it all kind of came together. So my first book I published unfortunately or fortunately, in October of 2001. So right after. I mean, like it was already in production, but it came out in October of 2001.
But let alone 9/11 had such a profound impact on your outlook on life as a whole.
Yeah.
You also had obviously already been working on this book.
Yes.
That was released a month later.
Yeah.
And what was the inspiration behind that specific?
Well, so oftentimes I tell my students this all the time, like your first book ends up being like your whole life up until that point. You know, it's just kind of like you're processing a lot of things, your childhood or whatever. So a lot of it was processing my childhood, being an immigrant, going back and forth to India, living in America, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it was literally my life up until I was like 27 or 28.
Through poetry.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful way. I'm assuming just like I feel acting is, and probably a lot of outlets are, is it's very cathartic. It's very,
it's a great way to make sense of the world. I often say it's no replacement for good therapy. So shout out to therapists. But it is an interesting way to view the world. There are different lenses you can view the world, right?
Yeah.
And this could be one way you can, you know?
Yeah. A sense of expression too.
100%. Yeah.
And you've written two more after that.
I've written two more.
What have the inspiration behind both of those been?
Okay, so my second book, Afternoon Masala, is all about Hollywood and Bollywood. So it's like all these poems about Bollywood. Growing up, Bollywood was huge. When I was growing up, I watched a lot with my mom. And so that was like the inspiration for that book, was just like I was living in LA and I was thinking back to all the times where I would watch these Bollywood films and how it had such a big influence on me.
Yeah.
It took a really long time to write because I had 3 kids, and see, it's not always balancing. Sometimes other things take precedence. So it took a while. My most recent book, Burning Like Her Own Planet, is a retelling of Hindu myths, but from the goddesses' point of view. So when our oldest son was little, I would read these like beautiful picture books about Hindu mythology, but oftentimes it very much centered on the gods. You know, the gods did this. And so I was often like, well, what about the goddesses? Like, how do they feel about what happens to them?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, right? Right? So I was like, okay, I'm going to retell a lot of these well-known myths, but I'm going to tell them from the goddess's point of view, from a more contemporary point of view. Yeah, that was that project. I really enjoyed it.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important. And such an observation that you're right. I mean, so many stories throughout, whether regardless of the background, feels like it does center on the male perspective.
100%.
I can't wait. Did you now writing some of the books are they books? Poetry books?
Yeah, they're books.
I was going to say, I was like, is there another term?
Nope.
See, this is where I sometimes feel intimidated.
No,
I'm like,
don't. Yeah.
Because, like, say your second one took so much longer, was there any ever resentment towards motherhood or having to take care of the kids that came up to the surface?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is everybody has like such a different household dynamic.
Yeah.
And I think that like for a lot of my friends, they didn't have the same dynamic that I did, which is that my spouse's work is primarily inflexible in the sense that you have to be somewhere at a particular time and there's like no substitute to come in for you, right?
Yep.
And so it's like negotiating that is very often hard. I often say to people who are in relationships that they're like, ask like, how do you keep a relationship going? And it's like, I don't have any answers necessarily, but the idea that it's going to be balanced all the time, it's not realistic. Someone's always going to make more of a sacrifice, but not all the time. It's not always going to be that way. And to recognize that, you know, because of that dynamic, a lot of the baseline childcare, you know, doctor's appointments, going to parent-teacher conferences, I took the brunt of that because of his work environment, you know? Yeah. So in other families, it's quite different. So whenever he can, then like when he isn't shooting or on set, then he just takes over all of that, you know? So it's like
here you go.
Yeah. And so he does do that. So, but it's not always going to be balanced, but there's ways that it will flip and turn and change, and to kind of recognize that, you know?
How many years have you been married?
26 years.
Wow.
It'll be 27 this summer, I think. Yeah, 27.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a long time.
I know you said you already been asked what's the secret, but it's kind of like, so how?
How does that work? I think, I don't know. I think you just kind of remember that you're supposed to be each other's friends. You're supposed to have each other's back. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's sometimes, not always, but like if things get argumentative or whatever, it's like to take a breath and be like, wait a minute, what is it we're actually wanting?
Yeah.
What's the goal here? Oftentimes the goal is like, I feel like, is to be heard or to be understood, right?
Absolutely.
So, you know, it's like once you take a breath, you're like, okay, wait a minute. This is still supposed to be my best friend. And so because of that, we've got to create that kind of a relationship where we're like, I have your back, you have my back, you know?
And just to kind of always remember that.
I think so.
Being somebody, we talk about therapy a lot on this podcast so far. I think every single person has. Big advocate of therapy. Shout out to therapy.
Yeah.
Do you do couples therapy as well?
No, I've never been really to a therapist, and neither has my husband.
No way. Okay,
no.
wait. So you need to elaborate. So earlier, you said like go, but so you guys don't go to therapy at all, or you don't go to therapy?
No, we've never gone to therapy.
And do you feel like do you personally feel like what you want to?
I don't really feel like I want to.
Yeah.
I think that it's a great tool for a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's just like we just never went. Yeah. But like, I think the thing is, it's different because like we started dating when we were 19.
That's crazy.
I do think it's different to be, we were young adults, but I think it's different to be an adult and meet another adult at a different juncture in your life.
Yeah.
Where things are often much more complicated.
Yeah.
So, of course, then it's like, yeah, you might need to have somebody come in, go to somebody else and kind of talk through that.
Yeah.
So, like, that's different because we were basically like really like teenagers.
Well, and you guys have been together longer than you guys haven't at this point.
Right.
So you guys must know each other pretty well.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. But I think that that's the thing is like for me, I don't always think of a successful relationship as time spent. It should be the quality of the time, you know?
Yeah.
And so sometimes like if people come together and it's amazing for 6 years and then it's not and it doesn't work out, to me, that's still 6 amazing years.
Yeah.
You know, I don't necessarily view time in that way, whereas maybe other people might. Like they might say like, oh, we couldn't make it work for long term. But to me, 6 years or 5 years or 3 years, those are long term.
It's so true. And I'm hearing this a little bit more lately in regards to like, at least you got, if you can end it amicably too, if it does, like that person came into your life at a specific time, you guys have both grown and evolved and it's just it's time to go your separate ways because it just doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
It's a great way to look at it though.
Yeah.
I don't think that you and your husband are going to ever end that.
We're kind of stuck with each other.
Yeah,
but
I think you're stuck with each other at this point, and you guys love each other so much, and it's so clear and so obvious. But also, it makes sense why he loves you. He's very lucky to have you because you're an amazing woman.
Thank you.
Who is so smart.
So now I'm finishing up a 4th book. I know. That is also kind of poems in the voice of Penelope from the Odyssey. Again,
oh, wow.
A woman that's been silenced primarily in literature.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of evolving. So this is kind of just like maybe a different facet. They're poems, primarily epistolary poems, which are like letter poems to Odysseus, who will never read them, right? So it's like a framing device primarily.
Yeah.
So it's like a great way for her voice to kind of explain her reality. It's like, oh, you went off and you went to war and you met monsters and you did all of this, but I'm at home and this is what I'm dealing with.
That gave me goosebumps. I love this.
Yeah.
Because even in films, that's always what it is. It's the telling of the story of the person that went off to fight and see the monsters and do the things. And very rarely is it the person that stayed home.
Yeah.
To take care of things.
To take care of things.
Do you feel like you have more time now, though? Because the kids are older. So
I do. But it's kind of like I haven't quite adjusted yet. So hopefully in the next like 6 months, I'll figure out who I am in a different way. You know, again, we're always changing. So it's like, I don't know in 6 months what kind of day-to-day life will look like necessarily. So
is it a weird transition right now that the kids are all...
Such a weird transition. We'll be empty nesters in a couple of months. And so, yeah, it's kind of strange to think you've created a life in a certain way for like 22 years.
Wow.
And then it's going to change and shift again. So, but that's part of life, right? I guess.
Anything you're excited for, looking forward to now being an empty nester?
I'm not there yet, but I hope to be.
In a couple months.
As my good friend just said on a walk, that I should view it as an open nest and not an empty nest.
Oh.
That, shout out to Lindsay, who said that. So, yeah.
What a great way to put it, an open nest.
Yeah, like that they'll always come back to the nest. But
So looking back at your whole life, the entire trajectory, first, is there anyone you remember along the way that really impacted and maybe changed the trajectory and or inspired you or empowered you? Mm-hmm. And also looking back, is there anything you would have done differently, changed? I don't like using the word regret, but anything that you could have maybe gone, I wish I would have done that differently, or I've always been intrigued by if I had done that differently, what would have happened?
So I'll probably answer this second one first. I don't think so. And that's not to say I haven't made mistakes or that I don't regret things, because I do. I think it's okay to have regrets. But I think that with every decision you make, you know, you change the course of your life, you know, not small decisions like, am I going to get a poached egg for breakfast or not? But like if you have 2 options or if you have an option, are you going to take it or not take it? Mm-hmm. So I don't really feel like there's a juncture in my life where if I'd taken the other road, it all led me to this table. That's what I often think of. Yeah. It's like all my experiences have led me to this table to sit across from you and to exchange ideas at this moment. Now, had I made different decisions, would I be here? Would I have the children I have? Would I have the husband that I have? Like those are, life choices that every little change will make a ripple, right? Mm-hmm. So in that sense, no, I don't feel like I could go back and be like, oh, I should have done this,
But I've always just been so fascinated. Is that question ever in the head of like, what if I hadn't moved to LA?
Yeah. Well, we think about that. Like, we would have been maybe we would have been in New York and maybe we wouldn't have children. Maybe we'd live in an apartment and maybe, who knows? The possibilities are kind of endless at that point.
It's true. I mean, that's what's so fascinating about life. Yeah. Like what you're saying, like you can go back and say, I would have changed it. But in those moments that you made those decisions, you were going with your gut, your heart, your love, like your career, like what you needed at that time.
100%.
So how can you go back and say like, I would have changed it and done something differently if you're not that person you were then?
Right. I mean, all those terrible jobs and all that. I mean, like we all have those experiences, but they make us who we are. Like, so we go into the world going, like I remember my first job earning literally $3.35 an hour.
How was that possible?
Minimum wage.
That was not minimum wage.
I think it was. I started working when I was 14 at the local library because I loved books. And I do believe it was like $3.35. I'm ancient, so.
No, you're not. Stop it.
But, like I have worked minimum wage jobs. I have worked in a French fry truck in Jersey at like one of those carnivals, those like local carnivals. I've done all of that. But like I think for artists, those kind of experiences are good because now in the back of my head, I remember the smell of that, that French fry truck. Like I remember all of those details because I had those experiences. And so like often when we say like write what you know, it's like it doesn't have to be a direct line, but it's like now I know what it feels like to kind of work like a little fast food, like, I know how that feels. Yeah. And so I can use that in some way.
I love that you're now just telling me about the fry truck and the library. Yeah. You did not tell me about these things.
Oh, yeah.
So these were jobs you had before you went to college.
Yeah. No, Jason and I did that. Like,
stop.
As summer jobs. Yeah.
The French fry. Did you like doing French fries?
No, I went home and threw up, but that's a whole other story.
Do you now, like, can you eat French fries? Do you like French fries?
I love French fries. If I don't have French fries like twice a week, something's wrong.
Okay, so it hasn't ruined that.
It's just the working in the French fry truck.
I love that, though. I always love hearing the little jobs people had along the way because we all had some weird, interesting, oddball thing that we either liked or didn't like. And then where do you see yourself from here going in 5, 10, 50 years? Like, what are you looking forward to?
I think I'm looking forward to continuing to deepen my commitment to my craft and to writing, but also like deepen my commitment to my friendships too, because raising children is amazing and wonderful, but it takes up such a huge part of person's life that now it's like, well, I'm going to deepen our friendships that we have in our community, I think that's wonderful. I think that's important,
It's beautiful things you're looking forward to, though.
Yeah, definitely.
At the end of this, I do a little thing called Sweet and Savory.
Yeah.
Your food of choice was apples and brie.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get the apples and brie, and we're going to do a little rapid round questionnaire of if you're sweet or savory.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I'll go get the food.
Okay.
Would you say you are sweet or savory?
I think I am probably more savory than I am sweet. Yeah.
Okay. Now let's take the rapid round quiz to find out. Morning person or night owl?
Neither. Mid-morning?
I haven't heard that one before.
Yeah. Or I'm an insomniac at times, so I could stay up quite late as well.
So would you say you're a night owl?
See, for me, night owl means like you're like living your best life at night. And for me, it's like I'm sitting on the couch watching Netflix at night.
I think the interpretation could just be whether you are you a person that wakes up at 6 a.m. and is like,
never.
Awake. So you're more of a night owl.
Yes.
Okay.
For sure.
Text first or wait to be texted?
I'm a text first kind of person.
Love it. Romance or respect?
Oh, respect. I'm not a big romance person.
Really?
Yeah, no. I think my husband is. He's very into the romance and I'm not. I'm a very like practical, like kind of
So are you
person.
like, why did you spread all these rose petals everywhere? We have to clean this up later.
Yeah, because that's how he, in fact, did propose to me. So yeah, it was just like one of those things where.
So were you like, this is really messy. We're not cleaning this up?
It was basically like, what are you doing? Like, what is happening here? And he's like, you're ruining it. And I'm like, I know, but like, what is happening here?
Oh my God, I love that so much. I wish it could have been a fly on the wall.
Yeah.
Planned or spontaneous?
I'm a planner. I'm just a planner.
Comfort food or fine dining?
Comfort.
Forgive fast or never forget?
Ooh. I'm a never forgetter, I would say.
Love it. Talk it out or walk it off?
A little bit of both. I mean, I am anxiety walking a lot these days.
Okay. Yeah. But which would you do?
I would probably
walk it off.
Walk it off.
Because you're walking a lot these days.
Yes.
I was like, it also sparked an idea. I was like, we didn't talk about this. Is the anxiety just because of the open nesting?
Just like everything.
Life.
Like, can we just not, we can't switch off our brains. It's like everything.
And the world kind of feels like it's in quite a chaotic state right now.
100%.
Soft life or boss life?
Soft
Life or boss life?
Oh, soft. Who doesn't want soft? I think being the boss is kind of overrated. Like, I do want other people, like women, to take those roles, but it's very exhausting. Just saying.
Beach vacation or city escape?
I'm a city girl.
Homemade meal or 5-star restaurant?
5-star restaurant. Although I do like a nice home cooked meal. I mean, 5-star restaurant, it's like so expensive and they're going to bring you stuff that you're not going to like, right? Isn't that like, you've not experienced that?
No, I definitely
You know what
have.
I'm saying? Like, it's a little too like frou-frou and then you're just like, what is this weird foam on top of whatever? Like, why am I paying for foam?
I'm a sucker for that experience regardless, but I definitely, like, they're like, it's 11 courses and you're still hungry at the end because each course was the size of a, like, cracker.
Yeah.
So, yes, I get it. But still, what is your choice?
Okay, my choice, I'd go for the 5-star. Why not?
But after all this, you're like, I'll go for the 5-star.
Because I wouldn't, like, eat everything. Like, there have been times where I've just deposited whatever the fancy food is to my husband.
Oh, my God, the amount of chefs' hearts you've broken.
I'm sorry. I know it's an art form.
You cry in private or in public?
Oh, private, for sure.
Lover girl or independent queen?
Lover girl or independent queen. What does that mean?
Any way you interpret it. I'm not supposed to give any hints.
Oh, you're not
I'm like,
supposed to.
I'm not supposed to.
I think I'm a lover girl. I love my girls around me. I don't know.
That's a great interpretation.
Yeah.
Sweet revenge or silent success?
Ooh, sweet revenge. I don't know. Yeah, might as well.
Slow burn or instant spark?
Instant spark.
Stay loyal or match energy?
Stay loyal.
Glass half empty or half full?
Empty, empty, empty. For sure. Yeah.
Chase the dream or chase the bag?
Chase the dream, but have a backup plan.
Okay, good. Subtle flex or loud win?
Subtle flex.
Intuition or logic?
Intuition.
Be chosen or do the choosing?
Do the choosing.
Now here it gets easier.
Okay.
Chocolate or chips?
Oh, chocolate.
Wine or tequila?
Wine.
He plans the date or you plan the date?
He. I don't want to plan anything.
Apology or changed behavior?
Changed behavior.
Soft launch or hard launch?
Oh, soft launch.
Prada or Nike?
Nike.
Journal your feelings or vent to friends?
Vent to friends. Even though I'm a writer, I feel like you get more feedback, like immediately.
You're like, I need it.
You get emojis. You get all that stuff. You know.
Yeah, no, I can see that. Be adored or be respected?
Be respected.
Peace or passion?
Peace.
And you said between sweet and savory, you said savory.
Yeah.
Okay, let me do my little counting.
Okay. It's a scientific method here.
Wow. You are sweet by 1.
What?
I thought you were going to be
No.
savory. I thought you were going to be
I'm
savory.
not. A
She
redo.
refuses. She refuses. I'll do a recount.
No, it's fine. I trust you.
Wait, that time made it a tie. Maybe I am hallucinating. No, I was right. Okay. It does. Listen, this is science approved, scientifically proven, and professors reviewed it. I asked a bunch of professors to help me formulate it. So I'm sorry I have to announce that you are sweet instead of savory.
Okay. It's fine.
What I've loved to find out is most people, the truth is throughout life, it changes. Sometimes we're sweet, sometimes we're savory, because that's what life is. It's a little bit sweet and a little bit savory. And that's one of the things we love about it.
Yeah.
So
Great.
it has been an absolute gift and joy to have you on. I'm intimidated to bring you on because I think, as we talked about, like, I didn't go to college and I don't understand poetry, and it can be quite intimidating and scary. But I've always loved you and loved hearing you talk and talking to you. And so it was an honor to have you on here and have such a great conversation. And I'm excited to now read some poetry. And now I feel like I can call you up when I'm like, what does this mean?
Yeah.
Help me, please.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But poetry should just be something that you can just enjoy as well.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to dissect it.
Which is good. Which is also, I needed that permission too.
Yeah, 100%.
We forgot one last thing is, why did you choose brie and apples?
Because it is both sweet and savory.
Oh, that was the little, just like us and just like life.
Exactly.
Van, thank you so much.
This
for
was
coming on.
great.
Thank you.
Thank you.